All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Whitney Nicely East, and I am the principal broker for Whitney Buys Houses. We're a real estate firm in Tennessee and in Georgia. I'm also a real estate auctioneer, and I got my license back from the state that says that now my auction company is also a real estate firm. So I'm a broker for two companies now, and I'm really excited about that. Victoria Morris is on Blab with me this morning, and we're going to be talking about flipping houses and multifamilies. And Victoria, if you want to introduce yourself, you're an agent too, aren't you?
I am. Good morning. I'm Victoria Morris, and I am the owner of a company called RB Realty, and we are a property investment company. I am an agent as well, and I pretty much just, am an agent for myself so I can get into houses and move quickly on deals.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm an agent also. But my friend Haley has just called in this morning, and she has a question. She has been in the process of trying to buy a house with her husband, and they've gone to look at a bunch, and they've put some offers in, but nothing's really taken. So she's found a new one. Haley, you're still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, she's found a new house, and Haley, if you want to just go ahead and ask your question, and then Victoria and I'll both answer you.
Okay, my question was, if the listing agent on the house wants to work with me, but I have an agent, is it in my best interest to use my agent to help her fight my battles, or should I just use the listing agent so she doesn't feel threatened to have to split the commission?
I think that's a great question. Victoria, you want to go first? The question is, in case you couldn't hear the phone, is that Haley's found a house and she has an agent that she's been working with. Have you signed a buyer's representation with your agent, Haley?
No, we have not.
You have not signed the buyer's representation. Okay. So you found a house and you want to know if you can work with the listing agent and not use your agent because the listing agent may not want to split commissions, right? Okay. Victoria, you go first.
All right. So my opinion is definitely to use your own agent. The reason why you would use your own agent is because if you're using that agent, then there are certain things that she can't do legally and ethically. She can't totally help you because she's also helping the other party. So there may even need to be a third party involved to be a mediator between the two of you. So it would be better for you to use your own agent. And that should not affect commissions whatsoever. That's pretty standard and acceptable in the marketplace for two agents to split commissions. That's completely okay. And I think you'd be doing better if you had your own agent representing you.
I agree with that. And I just want to say that if the listing agent has it on the MLS, they have already decided to split commissions with somebody, and they had to publish how much they were going to pay the other agent. So yeah, they would probably like to get more, but also in their contract, if they told the sellers that they would be the buyer and the seller agent, they may be taking a reduced commission anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I agree, use your own agent because there's just a lot of stuff to happen, especially on your side, that you just need somebody dedicated to you. Like when you're talking to the mortgage broker and you're talking to all the inspector and you're talking to all these different people, you really do need that person on your side.
Yeah. You want someone in your best interest who's looking out for you and only you.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, Victoria and I, when we buy houses, we're our own agents. So good or bad, we're just going with it ourselves, right?
That's right.
All right, Haley, good question. You got any others?
Not right now, I don't, but I'll call you if I do.
Okay, thank you. Great question, and I'll try to blog it later too, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Well, that was a perfect question to get us started, wasn't it?
Absolutely. What a great way to start.
All right, so what I wanted to start with this morning is I wanted you to introduce yourself and tell me just a little bit about what you do on a daily basis and in the grand scheme of things. Tell me who you are and what you do. And my dog wants in. Hold on just a second. She'll cry.
Sure. Hi, doggy.
Yeah. Come on in, happy lady.
Well, I guess I'll start introducing myself while she's doing that.
Okay.
I'm Victoria Morris, and I pretty much do a lot of the same stuff that Whitney does in the sense that I'm also a property investor. That is my major focus. I try to tell people all the time that every property investor is different. And everybody has a different strategy, a different plan. My particular plan is kind of different than a lot of other people's in the sense that we do not flip anything. We buy, renovate, and hold. We hold and rent. And that's it. We've never, well, I say never, we've sold one house, and that's what convinced me to never flip another house.
Why did that convince you? What was the deciding factor?
Well, you know, it's really funny. I had a great experience. We flipped this house. It was a beautiful house. If anyone is familiar with Knoxville, it was in West Knoxville. We made a very nice profit off of it. But I literally sat at the closing table in front of my business partner as I was signing the papers. And I looked at him and I said, you know what? This is crazy that we're selling this house. We're both making, you know, a lot of money doing it. But in doing so, literally, when that money is gone, it's gone. Yep. I can never make another dime off of it again. I can never accrue appreciation. And it didn't make any sense to me. I thought I could literally drop that money into a new car or something like that. And then it's just gone. It's just gone forever. Whereas if I kept it and didn't slaughter my asset, I would have that forever and continue to profit from it. So at that point, I just decided I was never going to sell another house, and I haven't.
That's a great point. A lot of new agents, they go to that first closing or they go to the second closing or whatever, and they get that, you know, $5,000 or $10,000 maybe commission check. Maybe it's bigger. I don't know. But I know mine was even less than $5,000 on my first 2 commission checks.
Wow.
And, you know, a lot of them, they'll go out and they put that down on a car, just like you said. Or they'll go out and buy new business cards or new, you know, a new website. And I know that helps. Yes. But you're talking about long-term wealth from owning and keeping real estate, because every month it pays you, right?
Absolutely. Every single month. And that's our goal, is to get everything to cash flow. We actually have no money in any of the properties that we own, aside from, of course, making more mortgage payments on a monthly basis. But when we purchase the property, we pay with cash. We pay for our renovations with cash. And then we turn around and finance that entire amount with the bank. And the way we can do that is through, since the properties are so dilapidated when we buy them, we can actually get the banks to do something called appraised value. So we get appraised values for those properties rather than, you know, the percentage of purchase price. So that allows us to finance the entire amount as long as we keep it below 80% loan to value. And so we actually have no money into our properties when we buy them. Our contribution is sweat equity. And we've dealt with enough banks that they're comfortable with doing this with us now, which is really nice. My husband is still working, so we have that fabulous W-2, which totally helps. And that's just kind of how we do things. And then, you know, every property we have to factor in vacancy, maintenance, management, mortgage, taxes, insurance, all of that stuff. And it still has to cash flow. And if it cash flows, then, you know, it's a winner for us.
Lady Megan has asked, are they construction loans? Is that what you consider it? Or what, if I go to the bank, what do I ask for to get this kind of loan?
So, okay, so here's the key. There's a couple of ways we've done it. The first way, when we started, we had to pay cash for everything. So there's no construction involved. We paid cash for the house, and then we paid cash for the renovation. So the only time we get a loan is when the house is completely finished. So there is no construction loan to that. Okay. A lot of times we actually use cash from a line of credit that we got from a bank. And I'm not saying credit card. I'm saying like a 5% line of credit where we pay interest only. So it was, you know, it was low holding costs for us to do that and low interest rates.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now what we do, we've gotten to the point now where we do something called a subject to appraisal. So banks are a little more risky with us, and they will do something called a subject to appraisal, where they go out and appraise the property as if it were finished. So then now what they'll do is give us all of the money up front. They'll give us the purchase price, and they'll give us the full renovation up front. So now we don't have to use any of our own money. We don't even have to use lines of credit anymore to do that. So the only risky part of that is if you go over your budget, now you're putting money into your property because you're getting all of your money up front. So you have to be really, really conservative and cautious when you're doing subject to appraisals.
How long have you been doing this?
So the first house that we ever bought was rental property that we ever bought was in 2002. We've been doing it for a while.
Okay, so you keep saying we. Who is the we?
We, myself and my husband. And we have a business partner now, and his name is Michael Cohen, and he owns Asset Realty Management. He owns a property management company in town.
Okay, wait a second. So you work with your husband all day, every day?
Well, my husband has a W-2 paycheck, so that means he does have a job, which means right now he's working about 80 hours a week. He works 40 hours at a job, and then he comes home and he runs numbers for us and so forth. So he's very busy. His goal is to retire within the next year.
Okay. I know I'm newly married, and I know that I have tried to work on some projects with my husband, and that has not always been strong for our marriage. So can you tell me a little bit just about working with your husband?
Well, okay. So we get along very well. Our dream is actually to work together. We love working together. It's actually more of a detriment that he's, out doing engineering because he can do so much for our company. So it's not really a problem. Sometimes it is. I mean, sometimes we'll sit in the same room and we could probably strangle each other for sure. But for the most part, I mean, we absolutely have the same interest in real estate and the same love. So it just seems to work so well for us. And I can't say that everybody feels that way. I talk to a lot of couples who one of those couples love real estate and the other one, not necessarily does. But for us, we just both have such a passion for it that it's just easy.
We have found that he is very analytical. And so if I can give him the properties and let him analyze them and tell me, what we need to do, and then I go out and do it, then we can work well together, because I don't like the numbers. I don't like doing that part of it, but he really does. And I like going out and getting dirty and getting the stuff and working with contractors. So if we can divide and conquer, but where our problem comes in is if I start to question his numbers, or if he starts to question my on the job stuff. And I'm like, why are you go find something else to analyze?
Yeah, exactly. That's probably similar to us. My husband is an engineer, and so he's very, spreadsheet. And it's perfect for our company because we have full analytics. But then, my job is just like yours. It's to manage crews and get dirty and make sure everything is going right on the forefront. And so if we go out and look at properties together and he, starts nitpicking those, it definitely offends me. Definitely. And he, of course, on the other hand, though, is totally fine. He's like, when are you going to learn how to run these numbers so I don't have to?
I don't want to. You have a job for life.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go back to the properties. You've been buying since 2002.
That's right.
What I talk to a lot of new investors. April talks to a lot of people that aren't in real estate. They don't have that lump sum of money to go out and buy something and then invest in it. So take me back to the first one. Tell me the good and the bad and the ugly about that first one.
Times were different then. Times were a whole lot different. So we bought our first duplex, lived in half of it, and it was so simple. I mean, we literally, well, it was a pretty cool story. We actually, I had just graduated college. My husband, is a little bit older than me. He's 8 years older, but he still had some college debt and some credit cards. And our goal was, let's get everything paid off and let's become debt free. So we moved into a duplex, bought it, moved into one side, rented the other. The other side paid the entire mortgage.
Yes.
I know. And within 1 year, we were 100% debt free minus a mortgage.
Yes.
So we paid off like $25,000 of credit card debt, a bunch of school loans. And then from there, we were just like, this is amazing. Why wouldn't we do this over and over? Now, financing, we only had to put 5% down.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, because we were owner occupants.
Oh yeah.
And it was a different time.
But if you could tell that story all day, every day, how many people do you think you could convert into duplexes and into paying off, living debt free within? Y'all were married or you were newlyweds or?
Yeah, married.
Very young though to be debt free and cleared.
Yeah, it was amazing. It changed our whole life. It totally changed our life. Yeah. And
you were able to start buying properties from that point on because you were living basically for free in this place because the other side was paying your mortgage. And
we thought it was so great. 10 months later, we bought another duplex and we started collecting cash flow off of that. And then we were like, we don't really want to, I got pregnant and I had twins. We didn't really want to live in a duplex anymore. So we bought a house and we rented out all 4 of those units. And then we were able to pay for our house with those 4 units. And that was actually my first rehab. The house we bought was a rehab. I mean, it was so bad. And I literally had 8-month-old twins, one on each hip, going into the property every single day, checking on contractors and rehabbing. And it was a lot of fun. It was hard, but it was a lot of fun. And we gained about $40,000 of equity by doing that.
Now, today's real estate topic of the day, I do a daily, kind of like a vocabulary lesson, but today is equity. So since you just mentioned that, give me your definition of equity. How do you figure equity? What I said is, if you buy a house for $100,
okay,
you put $20,000 down, 20% down, so your mortgage balance is $80,000. After a number of years, you pay it down to $72,000, right? But you sell it for $110,000. So you take the difference between $110,000 and $72,000, and that's your equity, right?
Right. Well, sort of. I mean, that's your profit at that point. You have appreciation over that time and so forth. The way I see equity, I guess, is a little different than maybe most, because my equity is gained up front. It's sweat equity. It's how can I make money out of thin air? How can I instantly gain money just by spending a month or 2 in a property and rehabbing it? So I might buy a property for $50,000. I might put $20,000 into it, and it appraises for $120,000 a month later. That's, in my opinion, equity. That's like sweat equity. That's instant gratification. It's awesome.
You said on the first one, though, you gained $40,000 in equity after you'd rehabbed it. So how did you figure that one? Same way?
Same way. Same exact way. We bought it, I think, for $70,000. I think maybe we put $15,000 or $20,000 into it, and it appraised for, whatever, $140,000, $130,000, whatever it was. So it was an equity game at that point too. And that one we got a construction loan on because we didn't have the cash. So we got a construction loan, financed it that way. And then once it was complete, refinanced it.
I love all of this.
Yeah, we've played in the market a little. It's been so much fun.
So you're a new, fresh mom and you're still out flipping houses.
Well,
at that time, you're still out flipping houses.
You're 11 now.
So a lot of women come up to me and they're like, I've got kids, I've got to go to ball practice, I've got to do this and that and the other. And I tell them, you have to find the time. I'm blessed. I don't have any kids right now, so I have plenty of time to go and hang out at Lowe's and do this and that and the other. So it comes down to time management and where you want to be, right?
Okay, so here's the deal. I couldn't imagine anything else being better. I can take my kids to a job site with me because it's my house. There's nobody telling me I can't do it. It's not like there's a liability involved that I don't already know about. I can't be sued if I take my kids to a job site. So that's okay. If I have to take a phone call and my kids are in the background screaming, it's my job. It's my company. It's okay. If I want to go on a field trip, I don't have to answer to a boss. I just go. I may pay for it later. I may have twice the work to do tomorrow, but I go. I am my own boss, and I could not imagine anything being better. It's the perfect job for a stay-at-home mom.
I agree. And you're not really stay at home. You're out.
Oh, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out working. I mean, it was a compromise to be at my office this morning. So yeah, I'm always out beating the streets, but I can't imagine having to go to work 9 to 5, sitting in an office, being outside and running around and being my own boss is the perfect job for a stay-at-home mom.
So do you still have these 2 duplexes? Where are they? Are they in Knoxville too? Y'all are in Knoxville now.
They're in Chattanooga. Yeah, we own 5 houses in Chattanooga. Before we moved to Knoxville, that's where we started our.
Do you still manage them, or do you have a property manager in Chattanooga?
I manage those, and they are. It's so easy. I mean, if you just do your homework and you just do it right, it's so easy. I go through the whole process. I do background checks, credit checks, the whole 9. I have a maintenance guy there, so if we have any problems, I just pick up the phone and call him. My tenants can't call him. They have to call me, and I call him every time. And then the only time I ever go to Chattanooga is to sign a lease. I've got everything. I've got a showing agent. I pay her per showing. She's a lady I used to know. She just lives down the street. So whenever we have a property come available, I just call her, and I'll pay her like $15 per showing. And she'll go and show the house for me every single time. And then I accept applications and do my homework and sign a lease.
Now, you are in Chattanooga and you have 5 properties there. Are they close to each other, or are they spread out in Chattanooga?
So several of them are in the same subdivision. They're in a duplex subdivision. And then there's a house that's about 15 minutes from there.
I've been coaching a lady, and she is a traveling nurse, and she had the idea that she would, every time she'd go to a new city, she'd just pick up a house there. And I tried to tell her, maybe convince her, that you should pick a place and get a bunch of houses right there because, like you said, you have a maintenance guy. If she has 50 houses in 50 states, she has 50 maintenance guys. She has 50 showing agents. She has 50 electricians, and it's just a nightmare. And I think by the time we were on a 4-week coach, I think by the time I was done with her, for the most part, I think she got it.
Yeah. I can say that I wouldn't want to do that. I don't mind managing properties in Chattanooga. It's an hour away. It's no big deal. But I would not want to do that in 50 states. No way.
I'm having a hard time. Jason lives in Georgia, and I live in Knoxville, and I'm having a hard time buying something in Georgia, and I'm there every week just because I don't know the guys there. I would rather buy 10 houses in Knoxville and only be here part-time. But if I need something, like you said, I know exactly who to call. I know who will go out there. I already know their rates. I know their style. They know me. They know my style. They're comfortable saying, okay, if I say I'll put a check in the mail, they're comfortable with that. A new guy may not be comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You have to establish that relationship. And I mean, like I said, I've had this since 2002. We moved to Knoxville in 2005. So we've been playing this game for several years. But once you get it established, it's not a huge deal. You just have to get those contacts on that network.
How many houses do you have in Knoxville?
We have 38.
38?
38. Yeah. Yeah.
05 to 16. How many is that a year? How many are you buying a year?
Well, so we actually stopped for a while. When we moved to Knoxville in 2006, the market was crazy and we could not find anything. We're really conservative. So we didn't actually start back up until 2.5 years ago. So we bought 21 houses last year. And
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun year. So we stopped and then we started back up, and we're busting it now.
Okay, good. And you said that you and your husband and your partner, it takes all 3 of you.
It does. Yeah, it does. So I'm the, like you, I'm kind of the runner. I'm the get it done person. I'm just find the house, move on it, make the deal with the contractors. My husband is the numbers guy. We refer to him for all of our numbers. He makes decisions on how much we can pay per house. And then our business partner, he does 2 things. He determines rents on properties. He has a property management company, and they manage about 500 doors. So he's got a really good database to determine exactly what we should be paying for rent. And then once we're done renovating the property, I'm done. I turn it over to him, and he manages it. So I'm hands off at that point, and it really saves me a lot of time and allows me to get out there and buy more houses.
Absolutely. And that's the key to it, is to keep another one coming. That way your crew has something to go and do, right?
Right. That's right. That's actually a pressure for people, I think, like us, Whitney, is when you have guys, contractors you're keeping busy, if you don't buy a house, then they may be out of some work. Like it's a pressure for us that we've got to buy that house because we've got to keep those guys that we really, really like busy so they can keep working for us. Yeah.
And it's good that in your team, you have you dedicated to keeping those guys busy. That way everybody kind of works. I got in a problem. I did about 10 houses last year, and I flipped 6 of them. And no, I'm sorry. Last year I did total of 20 properties, but some of it was vacant land. But I was the only one on my team. So I was trying to do all 3 parts, Jason filmed me a little bit, and, we were planning a wedding, and it was just crazy. So this year I'm really spreading out. I'm getting more people to help, and that's the key, don't you think?
I totally think so. Doing all of that, I don't even know how you did it. I mean, impossible. Yeah, it's a lot of work.
Kind of crazy.
A little bit, yeah.
Megan's asked a question. Do you think that it's important to become an agent to save money on the commissions? When you're buying a house, I guess, when you buy a house, do you collect the commissions because you're an agent, or do you do something different?
Okay, so when we buy a house, we do collect our own commissions, which is great, and it does save us a little bit of money. But that's just a tough topic, and I don't want to answer that either way as, yes, this is the way to do it, because this is why. So when you are representing yourself, if you're not completely familiar with every single rule, every law, every due diligence, everything out there, I mean, everything, even the stuff you don't know, you're expected to know it, and you're held accountable for that. So if something goes south in that deal or even after the purchase, guess who was responsible for that? It's the person who represented you. And if it's you, you're responsible for it. So sometimes that small commission of a couple $1,000s isn't worth it. Not always worth it. So it's got to be something that you weigh out before you make that decision. Sometimes it's nice to have someone else take that responsibility. And it's another task.
I don't buy listed houses. Do you buy houses off the MLS?
We have bought some. It's harder to find the deals there, but we do scour the MLS, and we are on it every day, but it's really difficult to find houses that are worth it for us.
Okay, so a lot of people want to know, that's the only way they know how to find houses.
Okay.
Is to have an agent represent them. So where do you find them?
So we have signs. We advertise through, bandit signs. We send letters in the mail. We go to auctions. I'm out there all the time. I'm in a BNI group. I'm part of a RIA group. I do everything. When people ask me, what do you do to buy houses? My response is, it's easier for you to ask me what I don't do to buy houses. We do everything. It's just getting your name out there. How can you get people to call you? I have a Facebook page. I post before and after pictures. I've actually had calls from that. People will call and say, hey, my next door neighbor's wanting to sell their house. And this actually happened. It was an estate sale, and they wanted to sell their house, and it was a great house in West Hills, and we picked it up for a great price. So you just have to be everywhere so everybody knows what you're doing, so everybody calls you.
I tell people that Facebook is one of the best ways that I find houses or that I get buyers, because people are on Facebook because they're nosy. If you tell them what you're doing and they know, people are going to talk about you, right? So Absolutely. If they know what to say about you, like Whitney buys houses. So if my name comes up, it's like, oh yeah, she buys houses. Yeah, I saw. Did you see that house she bought? Did you see that, this and that and the other? And you're right. The before and after pictures are incredible because people are crazy about HGTV. So do people ever ask you, is it just like on TV?
Yeah, I hear it so often. They're like, you need to have your own show. I'm like, no.
No, I don't want anybody, just like you said earlier, I don't want anybody telling me what to do. I'm not going to have my own show.
I'll tell you this. This is a crazy cool story. I got a message on Facebook yesterday from a guy who I know from college who lives in England. He is from England, okay? He called me, he Facebook messaged me and said, Victoria, I own 2 houses in Kansas City. I need to sell them. I see that you're in the real estate world. Can we please talk? So this is what's crazy is, guys, I'm a real estate agent, which means I could probably find him a realtor in Kansas City and collect a commission off of that.
I know realtors in Kansas City.
There you go. See? Yeah, I was going to start putting my feelers out to see if I could find a good realtor. But there you go. I mean, that's just another resource. And it all came from Facebook.
The lady I'm having on Blab next week is an agent. She works with her sister in Kansas City. So I'll just send you her information. I also have, their auction is huge in Kansas City. So I've probably got a list of 10 auctioneers in Kansas City.
Perfect.
Awesome. So
we'll have to have a talk about that.
That.
Perfect.
You said something else that I wanted to get back to, and I didn't write it down. Oh, the RIA. You talked about the RIA meeting. What is that? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So I've actually just started RIA. I visited quite a while ago, and I'm back.
What is RIA?
It's a Real Estate Investors Association. Is that right? Yeah, Real Estate Investors Association, and it's a great place to meet other investors. I know people who have bought real estate from there. So just going to see the real estate that's available from other investors is a perfect reason to go, if nothing else. But it's, last time I went, they had several banks there who were answering questions and explaining the process for investors and how banks and investors kind of work together. That was really great. And they're always just bringing in other speakers that are super helpful to real estate investors, especially beginning real estate investors. For us, for me, I say us because there's 3 of us, but for me, I do feel like it's somewhat elementary sometimes. But the great thing is I get to help other people. And that alone is it's worth it, just to be able to go and help other people with their real estate needs.
I don't know about you, but sometimes it's those elementary things that I've forgotten.
Sometimes, definitely.
That I could really pick back up and go with.
Yeah.
And, I coach people, so it's nice for me to stay in tune. I remember being new, and I was new 4 years ago. So I think it's great. And I will tell you that March is Women's History Month. And so the March meeting at our local RIA, in case anybody's concerned, I am heading it. And I'm really excited about it. Tanya and I are working on the questions. We have a panel full of amazing women investors in Knoxville. Holly McRae is going to be there. She's the top producing agent. She's got the top firm. She's part of Keller Williams, but I'm pretty sure she's kicking tail as far as Keller Williams is concerned. And I know she is kicking tail in Knoxville.
Yeah, for sure.
So she is our anchor panelist, I guess.
And doesn't she have a connection with Barbara Corcoran?
She does, yes. She studied, mentored by Barbara Corcoran, absolutely. I think they text, and that's just a different level than I can even come up with. I think it's cool that I text Holly McRae. So I can't imagine texting Barbara.
I know. It's crazy cool.
And then, so I'll be on the panel too as a real estate auctioneer. Awesome. And my friend Julie Anderson Thacker is a property manager. I don't know if she's in your BNI or not, but she's like my real estate bestie. And so she's going to be on the panel representing investors that aren't in the RIA.
Okay.
So that's why she's coming. And then Jordan Reagan Wilkerson, her and her mom are general contractors. They flip houses, I think, in Halls and Fountain City area. They're going to be on our fourth member on the panel. And they're talking all about general contracting, all about flipping. I don't believe they're agents. So they're going to have a different perspective because the other 3 of us are agents.
Yeah. Awesome. Very cool. I'm excited to see that.
I am so excited.
That I get to be a part of that. That's so cool. I'm excited.
And we'll have a live Q&A afterwards. I'm really, really excited. I've been working on the flyer. I stayed up kind of late last night working on the flyer. So I am pumped for Women's History Month. And I am ecstatic that Victor is the leader of our RIA, or the president. I don't know what to call him. But he said that I could take over the march for Women's History Month. And I am beyond excited about
that. That is awesome. Good for you. That's awesome.
Thank you. So bring all your friends. I'll put the flyer up on Facebook. You can blast it out to all your people, but I would love to have a huge showing, especially since we're bringing in 3 rock stars that are not in our RIA. Women.
Definitely. Yeah. And that's an accomplishment itself, just to have 2 women general contractors. Really, that's amazing. I mean, every time I go into Home Depot, I am the only woman at the pro desk all of the time. So it's really, really awesome to be able to find those people and use them, especially during this month. That's awesome.
I love it. I'm so excited about it. So yeah, that'll be the RIA meeting. And you brought that up, was a perfect segue for me. So all right. So we're talking about contracts. You got a couple more minutes? Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
when you're in Home Depot or when you're on the job site, one of my coaching clients sent me a text yesterday, and she wants me to do a webinar on how to work with men in the field as a woman. She felt like her painting contractor was taking advantage of her, not just because she was a woman, but because they quoted the job. They said, I'll do it for, I don't remember what she said. Let's go with $1,000, easy math. They were going to paint the entire inside of her house for $1,000. Trim, whatever, paint, sealants, everything. Okay. But they got done and they came back and they wanted another $500. And I don't remember, and this is easy math, not the right numbers, but I don't remember what she said their reason was, but she wanted to know how I would respond and what I would say. So what do you say to contractors, and how do you weed through good contractors? Go back to the beginning. I know you got your guys now, but tell me from the beginning, how do you find those people to work with?
Okay. So first of all, I mean, I may have some good guys, but as we buy more houses, we need more contractors. And that is a challenge. That is the biggest challenge of my job, period. It is very challenging. The first thing you have to do, good business is good business, period. And always, always, always. So when you are talking with a contractor and you're thinking you're going to use them, contracts are perfect. So have a contractor in, make sure it's detailed so that you understand exactly what is expected. They understand exactly what is expected. So you have details. So that paint job should have had, every single detail in there. We're going to paint the walls, the ceilings, the trim, et cetera, whatever that is for this price. So then when that contractor comes back to you and says, you owe me $500 more, you can pull out your contract. And if a contractor is uncomfortable with that, my first response is, hey, look, this is just good business. And that's how I practice, period. If that's not okay, then find someone new.
I just looked up a text, and she said that he came back and he wanted $900 more. So I don't know what the beginning bid was, but her response was, shouldn't he have cleared it with her before he went ahead and did $900 in labor? Not even material, but just labor. Shouldn't he have said there's a change order or text, hey, we found a problem, we need to fix it? And, she could have given the okay. But
my roofer recently,
right?
Yeah, that kind of stuff happens all the time. And unfortunately, you have to teach them that that's unacceptable. So my roofer just did that to me. He's a new roofer, and he did a job for me. And he when I met him to pay him, he said, hey, I had to add extra flashing around the chimney, and I had to do X, Y, and Z. So you need to pay me $400 more. And I said, okay, well, wait a minute here. So you never picked the phone up and called me. You never stopped the job to get approval for that. So why do you expect that I'm going to pay you for that? And he was like, well, because I did the work. And I said, I understand you did the work, but I never approved it. And why didn't you know ahead of time that there was a chimney that needed to be flashed, et cetera, et cetera? So unfortunately, this is a learning lesson for you. I'm not paying you that. I'll pay for the materials for that if there were added materials, but I'm not paying you for that. And the next time you'll remember to call me. See, if you just pay them and say, just next time, tell me, the next time the same thing's going to happen. At some point, there has to be a learning experience for that person. And when they understand that you're not kidding, they won't take advantage of you.
And people listen when their pockets lose money.
That's right. That's right. Now, sometimes, there have been times where I have paid people for things. So you have to use your best judgment. Like if you feel like the person's being fair, you've worked with them for a long time, and something happened, okay, well, if it's that one-time situation, you have a good relationship, you trust them, you don't feel like you're being taken advantage of, that's okay. But it's especially on those first-timers, the first time you use someone and they start trying to nickel and dime you, it's no way. Start right off the bat with that. And sometimes you need to let them know up front, I'm not paying you extra, you better stop the job and call me if you think you're going to need me to pay for anything additional.
Megan's leaving. She says, thanks so much. She's leaving us early, but she feels very inspired going out into real estate today. So
awesome. Bye, Megan.
Thanks for stopping in. Okay. I had a different issue. I hired a new sheetrock contractor, and he gave me his bid. It was good. It was low. So I expected low work, but the work was really low. Mm-hmm. And one, I'm not hiring him anymore. I'm not going to tell anybody else to use him anymore. And I think, I don't know, but maybe sometimes when people get the bid, do they slack? Do they send their partner to do it when they promised that they would be the one to do it? How do you work with that besides just not hiring them? And I'll tell you, peace and happiness on a job site is almost as important as the end result of the money, because if a contractor comes in and he's a pain, if you can't get along with my regular guy, you got to go, man. If you get along with my electrician that I've used for 5 years and I just, adore because he has saved my tail so much, you guys to go. You're not coming back.
Right. I agree. I agree.
How do you handle those two issues? Is that he did sloppy work, he got the bid, and I gave him money up front to go get the materials, because that's kind of common, right? Give him material money up front.
Well, yeah. Okay. So the way I do it is I'll pay for them. I won't give him the cash. I won't give him any money, but I will pay for it. I'll say, if you go here and call me, I will give them my credit card over the phone.
Yes. Okay. Good idea.
Yeah. That way nobody's walking off with cash, especially if it's their first gig with me.
Okay. Yep.
Or the other thing for you guys who are new at this, Home Depot has this great program. It's called Text to Confirm. Have you heard of that?
No.
Whitney, the best thing ever. So if you have a credit card with Home Depot, they can tie that to what's called Text to Confirm. Any contractor can come in, buy whatever they want, and then you get a text message on your cell phone that says, Steve is here to purchase XYZ in the amount of $300. Press 1 to confirm. So I have to press 1, and then I have to confirm it, and then I click send. So there's a 3-step process there. So there's no mistakes to be had or anything like that. My contractors will call me and say, hey, I'm going to Home Depot, look for a text. So this way, nobody has a credit card. Nobody, if you fire someone, then you're not stuck with like, oh, shoot, I've got to cancel that credit card now or anything like that. It's so fabulous. The only thing that I don't love is that you are even more so attached to your phone because you're watching for those text messages. But it's awesome. It's completely safe and fabulous. And all of the pro people at Home Depot know, who my normal contractors are, and they would probably pick up the phone and call me first if someone were buying something that that didn't need to be buying something. That's a side note. What were we talking about?
Well, that was awesome. But we were talking about contractors and if they do a kind of crappy job and if there's not peace and harmony on the job site.
So it's actually happened to me before where I had a drywaller and he did not do what I expected him to do. So what's awesome about this is I never pay any contractor before they're finished and I've seen the work, period. So the guy hadn't been paid yet because I hadn't seen the work. So I went and saw it. It was not acceptable. I called him. I said, you need to come over here. This is our first time working together. First of all, I think we're going to have a learning curve and that's okay. We're going to do this on the first 1 or 2 jobs. And if we can figure out exactly what's expected of each of us, then we can work together. There's a learning curve. I understand that, but this is not acceptable. So he came over, he looked at the job. I was able to explain what I didn't like. He fixed it and then I paid him, period. And we were done. Now he came back to the second job and I said to him, don't forget, this was unacceptable. We shouldn't have to have this conversation again. We had to have the conversation again. So he fixed his work the second time and then he was done. So I never used him again after that. I mean, time is money. And when you're out there chasing contractors around because they can't figure out what you want, you have to get rid of them. You can't just be constantly going back to job sites to check on jobs to make sure drywall's been done correctly. You can do it once or twice to teach someone, but you can't do it over and over.
And that's another reason that you need to have the houses in a community or in an area where you can weed out a drywaller and find another. until you get a good one, right? And Jason, my husband, has a hard time. We've been working on his house in Georgia, and he has a hard time saying, why doesn't anybody just do what they're supposed to do? Because, you know, if you have somebody come in, then the next guy comes in and says, oh, well, that guy was an idiot. He shouldn't have done this. And then the next guy comes in and says, oh, well, both of those guys are, you know, they shouldn't even be able to hold a screwdriver. Let me fix it. And so Jason, all this going in his head, and he's like, why can't I just find somebody? And I said, you don't understand. Like, they're not going to like the job that somebody else did before them. I don't care how good they did or how bad they did. That is kind of, that's how they say, oh, I'm better. You should pay me. You should use me from now on. Do you agree with that? Is that normal?
Absolutely. I deal with that weekly. I mean, I literally just had a guy frame out a basement for me. And then after he framed it, had another guy come in and drywall it. And of course, I had to hear about the horrible framing job. And you just have to use your discretion. You know, you look at it, you decide, you know, for me, it's rental property. I'm not flipping this house. It does not have to be absolutely perfect. It is a rental property. We're going to get holes in those same walls we're putting drywall on right now. So sometimes a little imperfection is okay for me.
When you talk about, shoot, I forgot what I was going to ask. I had something come up, another situation.
Story of my life.
I know, right? I try to jot it down when it comes up, but I didn't that time. I've completely lost it. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Was there anything else that you wanted to make sure that you could tell the world? If you could tell a new investor anything, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. You know, real estate investing is the most beautiful thing in the whole entire world. To leverage someone else's money and to create wealth is powerful and amazing and incredible. And then on top of that, to gain appreciation and, you know, in every property that you own, and it's fabulous. Just be careful. Talk to somebody who has done it. Talk to somebody with some experience. Find someone who can mentor you, who can help you through this process. It's so important to not just jump in. Don't watch a show on HGTV and see that their budget's $100,000 and watch them buy it for $150 and turn around and still make a profit. If you do that, that won't happen. Stick to your numbers, stick to your guns. Don't ever budge from that, and talk to someone who has experience and who can help you. That's really so important. And it's awesome. If you can do that, I mean, you can make a killing in this market and you can have so much fun.
That's what I said yesterday is a lot of newbies expect to make that $1 million. They expect it to be an HGTV thing. And then this goes wrong and that goes wrong and this goes wrong. And this guy didn't show up and that guy's, you know, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, this is hard. And I'm like, yes, it is work. It is work.
It is a full-time job. It is a full-time job.
And, you know, you've been doing this 14 years?
Yeah, a long time.
So you have a good rhythm. I've been doing this. I've been flipping since 2009. So I have a little bit of a rhythm. I know things are going to go wrong. So when they go wrong, we just divert and change. But when Jason is a new investor, so when something goes wrong, he like shuts down for a minute before he can say, oh, okay. So I like to tell him just to keep going. Things are going to go wrong, but keep going. Just go over that one, get on to the next problem, keep going. Don't dread on it. And if you lost, maybe it was a, sheetrocker and he found that there wasn't any insulation behind the wall. Put the insulation in and go. Don't worry about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to budget for those kinds of things. And I'm glad you said that because this reminded me, one of the most important things you can do as an investor is to create a strong network, so that when you do run into problems, you are able to get out of them quickly. You can't do this on your own. Do not have that mentality of lack. Make sure you have a mentality of abundance. Look, Whitney and I do the same exact thing. Do I look at her as a competitor? Absolutely not. I look at her as a resource, someone I can help. She can help me. You have to do that. I have so many property investor friends. When I have a problem, they're the first people I call. I pick up the phone and say, I need a drywaller. Who do you use? That's the immediate response that I have. The last time I had a problem, I went to Home Depot and talked to the pro department and said, who are the good drywallers in town? That's who I need to use. So it's so important to create a strong network for yourself. That alone will create success.
Okay, you've been talking about Home Depot. That's what I was going to say is I use Lowe's. And I just found out, I mean, I've been flipping houses. I know, right? Now we are competitors. I just found out, and I don't know how I missed this. I have been the go-get-it girl. And Lowe's, I can send them what I need. I can even go pick it up, and they will deliver it to my job site for $20.
Yes, yes. Every time I have, a guy assigned to me pretty much. So I call him. I never step foot in that store anymore. I literally call, place my order. They load it on a truck and deliver it for me. It's fabulous.
I don't know how I missed that, or if I was just so focused on being such a control freak that I thought I needed to go and I needed, I can't believe I missed that. Like, I cannot wait to flip a house this year just so I can be like, hey, Paul, send it to me. I'll be here at 10.
Exactly. It is awesome. It's such a time saver, huge time saver.
I can't believe I missed that. Why didn't anybody tell me that? That's the problem. You get good at this, you get going, and people just assume you know the basic stuff.
Exactly. There you go. There's a basic. Yeah. I don't know that I would have known, but someone connected me. See, again, networks. Someone connected me a long time ago. He was a general contractor, and he said, meet me at Home Depot at, X time. I want to introduce you to someone. So I showed up, didn't really know what he was doing. He drugged me over to the pro department, and the rest was history, and my life was 100 times easier. But that's how I learned about it. So, yeah, those are just the little snippets of information that you just don't know unless you know.
And they'll save you. You think it's costing you some money or some time or something, but over the long run, I'm going to save hours.
Hours and days, maybe weeks.
Just from not going. I mean, I would get up and go to Lowe's first thing so that I could have the stuff at the job when the guys got there.
Oh, wow.
I don't have to do that anymore. I mean, I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah,
I feel like such an idiot.
That is awesome.
But you keep learning. You keep going. That's my phrase. I tell everybody, just keep going. Yeah. Whatever it is, keep going. Learn it. Make a mistake. Learn again. Keep going. Yeah. It's going to be fine.
That's really good advice.
And when you figure it out, you're dead.
Yeah. Yes. And even then you didn't figure it out.
No. You just think you did.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I think I don't have any other questions. Is there anything else that you want to put out there? Oh, I do want to say this. Okay. As agents, we are agents and we buy houses. I have a contract and I have the personal interest in disclosure because I want everybody to know that I'm an agent.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Every time.
Is there anything else that you do that maybe I'm missing to save your tail down the road with the real estate commission or with a home buyer or with anybody?
Well, you can't do too much. So that's for sure, especially when you're an agent. I think the personal interest disclosure is the most important thing. Very, very important. Aside from that, I just have my list. I don't have it with me. And honestly, I have an assistant too, who does a ton of work for me. My assistant does all my contracts now. So I just have a list for her, make sure every contract has all of these forms. So I can get back to you on exactly what that list is. I just don't have it with me right now.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's good knowledge. And a lot of people that want to be investors and they think they need their real estate license first, they don't realize the extra paperwork that comes with investing as an agent. So maybe we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds good.
All right. Well, I will see you next Tuesday.
Sounds like a plan. I can't wait to watch you do your thing. That's going to be awesome.
I'm so excited. So when I put it up later, you can share it, help me blast it out. We'll get 100 people there next week.
Awesome. Send it out to me. I'll share.
Okay, good. Thank you. And I will send you the people in Kansas City.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
So we should be good. See, it's about resources, guys.
Every time.
All right. Well, thank you, Victoria. I appreciate it. And I'm going to stop the recording now. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, if they have any questions, they like what you said, can you give some contact information that people can call or email?
Yeah. You can email me at victoria@rbrealty.com. It's R like Roberts, B like boy, rbrealty.com. You can check out my Facebook page. That's RB Knoxville. And I don't know. Do we share phone numbers on here or should we just do I'll do those two for now. And then if anybody wants to talk to me, you can contact me that way and I'll give you my phone number personally.
Sounds good. And again, I am Whitney Nicely East, and I am the broker for Whitney Buys Houses, and I am now the broker for Nicely Done Auctions, also the auctioneer for that. So I'm tickled. I got to decide if I'm going to go with Whitney Buys Houses or Nicely Done Auctions, or just say it both times all the time. We'll figure it out as we go. And I'm Whitney Buys Houses on Facebook, at Whitney Buys Houses on Instagram, Whit Buys Houses on Blab and Twitter, and Periscope. I Periscope every day 2 or 3 times. It's awesome. So if you need more real estate, I'm here for you. All right. And I appreciate it. My website is whitneynicely.com if you want any coaching. I mentioned that earlier. whitneybuysHouses.com if you want any of my houses. I don't have any right now, so don't check that one. But I appreciate you being here, and we will talk later, okay?
All right. Sounds great. Have a good day.
You too.
Thanks.